We're on page 4 and we have quite a few pre-cuts here we're going to go over. The first two is we did 6.5 by 7 3/4, and we called those actually a large fold out. And on each one of these, what we did was we laid this on our scoring board. We are 6.5 inches across. We scored at 1/2 and 11/16. Now 11/16 is the notch between 5/8 and 3/4, so right about here. And we scored on each one of these. Next, we had two pieces that were 4 by 6.5. We called them large pocket. On each one of these, we laid them on our scoring board. We are 4 inches across. We scored at 1/2. And then we turned it. We are now 6.5 inches across. We scored at 1/2 and 6 inches. Next, we had a 5 7/8 by 8.25 inch. We called it a top flip. We laid this on our scoring board. We are 8.25 across. We scored at 1/2 and 3/4. Next, we had a 5, whoops, get it into frame there, 5 by 5 7/8. We called it a bottom flip. We laid this on our scoring board. We are 5 inches across, 1/2 inch and 3/4. Next, we had a 6 by 7 3/4. There is no scoring. It's called our base sheet backing. We're going to do something different on this page. And then we also had our last one, 5.5 by 6 inches, and this is our base pocket. All right, so we set aside this. So let's grab our pencil and our ruler. So 1/2 inch up from the top of the chair, we're just going to make a little pencil line, okay? We can erase it, don't do dark. Now 1/2 inch out from the widest part here, we're just going to make a little line, 1/2 inch. We are then going to go to the top of the arm rail there, and we're going to do a 1/2 inch up and make a little pencil line so that we can see it. From the side of the arm, 1/2 inch. From the side of the bottom of the chair here, measure out a 1/2 inch. And to the bottom of the rocker down here, measure out a 1/2 inch and make a pencil mark. So this is all going to be freehand. Whoops, got stuff stuck on my scissors. And I'm going to show you. So here's my 1/2 inch out. I'm going to come straight up. And then I'm going to curve over to that 1/2, and you don't have to be precise on this, okay? And you're going to come up to your other one, and I'm going to round the corner, and I'm going to round the corner again to get to my other one, and then I'm just going to round it, just like this. And you, like I said, you don't have to be precise. So now we have something like this, okay? Don't throw these away. What we need now is our 6 by 7 3/4 base sheet backing. We're going to use our glue for this, so it'll make it easy. We're going to start with this one. And let's erase, just in case. Or just flip your sheet over to a clean side. It doesn't matter, really. If you can see any pencil marks, let's erase those, because you will be able to see that possibly. And we're going to apply glue to this, and we're going to glue it down, and we're going to match up the edge to edge on our base thing here. And I'm getting crazy with my glue. That's not new. Okay, so line up the corner with the corner of this and the corner over here, and we're going to burnish that. All right, we'll stick that off to the side to dry. Our base pocket. I am going to erase. So I made this a little bit larger for us so that we have maneuver room. What we're going to do is apply glue. We're going to bring it down to the corner and match up corner to corner, bottom to bottom. And now what we're going to do is trim this down so that we have a little bit of white. Okay, so I'm going to take my pencil and see where I need to be. And I'm just going to go straight across. And you don't have to be perfectly straight. Okay? Let's see here. We're going to go down this way. Well, I probably did the wrong way. Anyway, we'll be trimming this up anyway. So down to the corner, you should have some white up here. You definitely will have white over here. So this isn't going to be something that's very hard. If we need to add some color to this, we can. So I'm going to bring it all the way to the corner, and the bottom matches up. No white over here or here. Now, what we're going to do is cut, and we're going to leave about a 1/16 of white showing all the way around this piece. And you don't have to be precise. Just a little bit so that it shows us that we may have a pocket going on here. So this is what your piece should look like. Just a little bit of white around there. We have that, and we have that. This is where I want to put a little bit of something. All right, in your reserves, you will have this piece. It is about 1 7/8 by 6 inches. And we'll look at it with the side with this. All we're going to do is measure over about a 1/2 inch and cut. So, I'm a little less. That's okay. That'll work. Now this strip here, and I want to use the side with the blue to get some color, but we're just going to match it up there over that little seam, and we're going to place some glue down. And that will cover up, it should, some of the extra white. Okay, so this, we don't want to pucker it too much. What we're going to do is add glue back behind here and along the bottom, and we'll match it up with the corner over there. And then we will have something like this. So the straight edge, glue, and glue. Okay, matched up, bring it to the bottom, and the only place you're going to see the white is around here. So this now is like a little slide pocket that you can slide a picture mat in. You can get a couple in there actually. And I think for over in here we have bloom, but if we get this out, let's snip off grow and the plants. And we're just gonna make this into a rectangle. We'll grab a little bit of white cardstock to back it to bring it forward. So bloom and grow. And we'll cut out and round, leaving a little bit of a white border. We're now going to place that right there. The whole thing gets glued down. All right, let's grab our two 6.5 by 7 3/4 large fold outs. We're going to fold on those score lines. On both of them. Get this ready. Okay, we're going to have a hinge off to the right and a hinge off to the left. On the outside score line, we're going to pinch and crease, and we're just going to hook that on right back behind. Get it on there. Pinch and hold that down, and we'll apply our glue. Okay, so we have that one on. We'll grab this one, hinge off to the left, the outside score line, pinch and crease. You'll still be able to see your other score line. And then we'll hook that one on. And then what we're going to do is open it up and make sure that we do not have any glue, which we don't. We can push on the other one back and in, and then line them up to where they're supposed to be. So this is what you should have. We're going to go ahead and open that up and work on in here. In your paper pack, you should have another one of these, and on the back it is this. We're going to turn our sheet like this, measure over 7.5 and cut. Now we're going to be making 2 cuts here. Measure over 5.5 and cut, measure over again 5.5 and cut. All right, we're going to flip these over, and I like the vine coming down this way, so I'm going to use glue on this one and get this down to the left side, making sure that I am away from that score line. And then we're going to apply glue to this one, and we're going to do the same thing right on over there. Nice and colorful there. All right, we have 2 large pockets. We're going to do the same thing we have been, cutting out the squares where the score lines meet, folding back and assembling. So let's get these ready. All right, the opening is this way. Let's get these down. Would help if I can get it on straight. And we'll do the same over here. All right, let's get our paper for this. In your reserves, you will have this. This is 12 inches long by about 3.5 inches this way. We're going to turn it to where we have that little trim right here, the pink flower, measure over 3 3/8 and cut. So now what we're going to do is measure over 5.5 inches and cut. So that is what you should have. Turn this one upside down, measure over 5.5 inches and cut. So now what we have is this. I'm going to stick this one over here, and I'll have a nice white lip. And I'm going to stick this one right on over here. Let's glue this down. That looks good. All right, so let's fold in that one. In your reserves, you will have this beautiful print. On the back, it is this. We're going to turn it sideways, measure over 7.5 inches, and cut. Once you've done that, this is what you have. Measure over 5.5 inches and cut. We're going to apply glue. Whoop, phone ringing. And glue that down. Okay, we got that down. Let's go ahead and get this one. In your reserves, you will have this. We've already cut off it. We're going to turn it sideways. So we have cuttings over here. Happiness is here. Measure over 7.5 inches and cut. After doing that, we're going to measure over 5.5 inches and cut. This is what you should have. Flip it over. Let's apply glue. And we're going to center it right on in there. Okay, next, grab your bottom flip, your 5 by 5 7/8, and we're going to fold on those score lines. And use your tool. I've already done that. So our hinge is going to be at the bottom here. And all we're going to do is center that, slide that right on over all of this, and try to center it in the center. Because we're 6 inches wide about. And all you want to do is look to make sure that you are fitting over that. And if you don't get it exactly, that's okay. So as long as you know that you're fitting over it, just kind of get it there, and we're going to place glue, and you'll be able to see that score line right there should be straight, pretty straight. And we're just going to bring that right on up. So we have that one. let's grab our top flip. Now on these, just take your time. There's no rush because it's going to take a moment to get it to line up. This one is going over the top. And we're going to make sure it lines up with our bottom one. So look at the sides of your bottom one. Once you have it in place, and I need to shift mine over, we should be flat at the top. And we'll just carefully flip it over and hope that we get this on straight. That's all we can do. So I think I got it on fairly straight there. I'll flip it over and look. My magnet's what's going to help me line this up a little better. So this is what we should have. Okay, we are going to work with the top first, and we're going to get some paper for that, but we are going to have something we have to put a magnet down to. We're going to do something fun up there. Before we do anything, let's grab this out of reserves. I have an idea. So what I'm going to do is cut out this large window, this, and that. So let's cut those out. So I have all my pieces cut out. Now what I want you to do, this was not on the pre-cutting guide, but I want you to cut a 2.5 by 7 1/8 piece of cardstock. Now once you've done that, the first thing I want you to do is just flip it over, and up at the top in the center, what I want us to do is we're going to glue this down, this piece here, and we're going to leave 1/16 of white showing. And we want to get this on pretty straight, but we can always cut it a little. Just get it in there, just like that. And then at the bottom, we are going to do the same thing. We're going to glue it, but what I want you to do is place your ruler, so you get this on straight, to the side of your window up here, and just draw a line, a light line, so you know where the side of this needs to be. That's going to make it easier for us. I'm just having a good time here playing around with what we got. So about 1/16 from the bottom actually, and we'll place that. Okay, now for now, don't glue this down, but this is going to place pretty much evenly in between there. So I'm going to grab some decorated paper that I know that's going to fit in between that. So in your reserves, you will find this piece. It is 1 inch wide about by about 7.5 inches long. Let's turn it this way, measure over 2 inches and cut. So this is what you should have. Measure over 1/2 inch and cut that in half. All right, so flip these over. So you'll have one with the double stripe, if you were to look it over, and the double stripe one, I think we'll go down here with it. Okay, and the portion of the stripe will be higher, and we're going to line that up with our other piece here. And if it's not quite exact, that's okay. And then for this piece, there's nothing on there. We're going to do the same thing up there. There we go. And now let's see how that window fits. Now I'm darker up here, and when I cut this out, and then I'm thinner down here on the window frame, that thinner part's going to go down this way. And I think that stripe's going to help us out a little there. With this album, I just wanted to be real creative and do something different. So now I'm just going to kind of place it to where I see that line. It's going to make this look thicker now. And I'll press it up a little more. Let's see, get it on straight. And there we have it. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we are going to cut out and around, leaving a 1/16 of white or so showing. Just do the best you can. I'll show you what mine looks like in a moment. Okay, so here's mine. We're going to set that off to the side. We'll find our paper for this. In your paper pack, you will find this print. And on the back, we have this. We're going to turn it sideways. The fence is over here. Measure over 7 1/8 and cut. So this is what you should have. You'll have a bunch of crackling over here. Measure over 5 5/8 and cut. All right, once you have that, we're going to go ahead and center that in there. Make sure that you are away from your score line there. And we're going to glue that down. And what we're creating is like a belly band with this. Wanted to do something different here so that we can put in something, but we still have to get our magnet, guys. So let's see, am I straight? Pretty straight there. Okay, so the top is with the thicker band. We're going to flip that over. We'll grab a plus. And if you don't get it on right, that's okay. We're just going to stick that. Now, I came down from the top about 1/8 of an inch there. All right, so on part of this belly band here, it's going to be glued down. So what we want to do is just make sure we get around the magnet, on the magnet, down to the sides. No further. Okay. Come up to the top here, and we'll still have enough room. And then center it as best you can in between there. So we just want to make sure this gets down. We'll put a little glue down here. And I want to make sure I'm pretty straight. Now, once you have that down, we're going to use our tool to make sure that those sides get down. And you can use the tip of your tool, whether it's like this or like this, to kind of press down the top. So there's that. Let's grab the minus. Now, on the minus, what's going to happen is we're going to be going with this part down. And this is where all we need to do is put a dab of glue just in the center, just like this. I'm going to show you how to do it this way, just in the center. Now I want you to pull this up to where it's supposed to go. And don't pull hard. Now you can also give it a little bend if you want, to kind of come over some of that bulk. And then you're just going to make sure it just comes down and lays straight. And you're going to press. And then you're going to lift straight up. You will be able to see that glue mark. It made a round circle. So now I know exactly where that magnet needs to place. So I'm going to grab it off that. And I'm going to place it down. Pretty easy. Now for this, we're going to let that dry, and we're going to get our paper for this. Okay, remember this scrap? Well, the first thing we're going to do is measure over 5 5/8 and cut. So this is what you should have. Turn it sideways, measure over 4 inches and cut. Now it's going to cut off some of the pots down at the bottom, but that's okay. It still looks good. We're going to center it in there and glue that down. First, let's take off the backing off that magnet. We'll make sure we get some glue around there. And we still have to get our paper for in here too, by the way, which we will. Okay, let's test. We latch. Okay, open that back up, open it down here. We have this piece, measure over 5 5/8 and cut. We'll turn it, measure over 4 inches and cut. Let's apply, oh, let's see, what side do I want to use? I think I want to have this side up, actually. Yeah, that'll match in with all of this really well. I like it. And we also get the birds and stuff over here. So I'm just going to center that in there. Crazy me with my thoughts. So we have that. We have that. Here is our band, which you can slide photo mat in there. Let's close it up. So this page, I have something that I wanted to do with with that. All right, for this one, the first thing that we're gonna do is put this on our paper cutter, and we're gonna cut right like that so that to retain that. So after making that cut, this is what you should have. This goes in our reserves. We're gonna turn it sideways, measure over 7 1/4 on this one. And the legs came off. So what you're looking for is an even amount. See where the bottom of this is? First, we're gonna center it in between there. So there's the same amount from here over to the edge of your white cardstock. Now on this one, don't cut here. You're gonna come over to the side of your cardstock and come in about a 1/16 of an inch or so. From over here, same thing. And now we're just going to cut and cut. So this will frame real nice. And I'll show you what mine looks like. It does not have to be perfect. And what you're going to see is a white border here and a white border here, and I want to bring that white in. So we're just going to center that top and bottom. Let's see if I got that on. I got that on pretty straight. Okay, for down here, we have our cuttings right here, right? You see this little round window right here? Let's cut that out, and then we're going to back it to some white cardstock. Cut out and around, leaving about a 1/16 of white showing. So let's do that really quick. I'll show you what mine looks like when I'm done. I think cutting circles is just the worst for me. Okay, so here's mine. It's not the best. So all I'm going to do is add a little bit of glue right here and along the edge, and leave that alone. And I'm not going to go past here. I'm going to bring it up to where you can still see about a 1/16 of our cardstock underneath. And we're going to press that down right there. All right, so let's flip this over. We're going to go score tape around the outside like a picture frame. 1 down the middle, and we're going to sneak in 2 on each side. This is a very thick, heavy thing, unless you'd rather do your glue, but I'm going all score tape with mine. And then we're going to place this in the book together. This is another one where we need to make sure where we place it to minimize the bulk, because there's a lot of bulk. Okay, I got the score tape on. Let's get to our page 4. And I'm going to slip something back behind so you can see. Now, because we are so thick, you're going to bring the edge of this to the edge here. So you'll scoot it all the way over, center, top, and bottom, and that will leave you a good, about a 1/4 inch away from that hinge. So let's do that. Okay, all the way over to the edge. I'm going to slide that back so you can see once again, all the way over, and try to center that top and bottom. And I think I got it there pretty good. All right, the key to this one staying down is opening it all up and giving it a good burnish and taking your time. Page 4 is complete. And I'm just going to do a small little edge here. Let's see what we look like. Well, that would sure look pretty. Actually, I have an idea. In your reserves, you will have this piece. Remember that? You see beauty? Let's do it. Let's just cut out beauty. And I'll leave those little things on. Now we don't need to back this, so we're just going to cut it right on out. Well, that would look really good. It'd look really good if we did back it, but I think I'm just going to have it blend into the back. I'll put this at an angle. And you'll want a flower that you can flatten down. So if all you have is maybe the little Tim Holtz ones that are flexible to go flat, maybe you want to ink it instead and put a couple of those, you can do that. Me, I'm just gonna flatten this flower down. Any flower that you've made will work here, as long as you can flatten it down. What do you think? I think that looks pretty good. Page 4 is complete. We are now moving on to page 5. Now we have bulk, okay? So this page 5, there's gonna be nothing to it. And then for page 6, I'm probably gonna go a little thinner, and then we can get some more stuff in there. But I think this looks pretty darn good. Now on this page, because we made it flat, it is gonna come back and hit like this. And that's fine, we don't have fold outs or anything like that. All we have is photographs and picture mats, so when we open the book, it's gonna look good. So it's all gonna lay out for us. This one's gonna come over, we still can do that. But again, when we get to 5, we have to have something there without a bunch of fold outs because we're so thick, and we want to be able to open the book and be able to visually see it, and then we can have fold outs over here or whatever we want to do. Okay, let's move on. Let's move to page 5. We're on page 5 and 6. We're going to complete them together because it's super simple. There are no pre-cuts for page 5. However, on page 6, what we did, we cut 4 pieces that were 4 3/4 by 5 3/4, and we only labeled one waterfall. We didn't need to label the rest. Okay, scoring on this. What we did was we laid this on our scoring board. So we are 4 3/4 across. We scored at a 1/2 inch on each one of these. Then we had a 1.5 by 4.5 inch piece we called a strap. We laid this on our scoring board. Oh, I hear Sissy. 4.5 inches across. We scored at a 1/2 and 5/8. I can hear her barking from downstairs. Let's begin. In your paper pack, you will have this beautiful print. On the back, it is this. We're going to turn it sideways, measure over 7 3/4 and cut. Next, we're going to measure over 6 inches and cut. Okay, this is what you should have. We're going to turn this over. And we're going to have this one, the one with, if you flip it over, you have a larger yellow flower. We're going to set this off to the side. This is for our page 5. Page 4, we are doing nothing. We're just going to place our score tape along the back. So I accidentally bent my paper. Score tape around the outside like a picture frame, one down the middle, one on each side, and we're going to place that in our book really quick. All right, page 5. So we're just going to come in 1/8 inch from the side here. And we'll burnish that down. All right, we'll set this off to the side. Let's grab our page 5, or 6, excuse me. The other one was page 5, this is 6. I think I accidentally said page 4. I'm not sure. Maybe I did it right. So we're going to grab our waterfall pieces and we're going to fold on the score line on each one. All right, so we have all that done. Let's grab our ruler and our pencil. Now measure up from the bottom about 5 1/4. So 5 1/4, and I'm going to go in the middle. It'll be a little bit easier there. 5 1/4 up, and I'm going to make a pencil line. So it's right there. So grab one of your pieces that has no writing. We're going to grab our glue. So with the peak is up right now, we're going to line some glue on this. We're going to fold it back, and we're going to place this just until it covers our pencil line. So, and just try to get it as even as you can there. And once you have it down, you can burnish. And we'll make sure that we don't have any glue seeping out. Now, if you can still see your pencil line like mine, I didn't quite get it over there, don't worry about it because it's going to get covered. We're going to grab another one and we're going to place glue. Okay, the peak is up still. Once we have glue, we're going to turn it to where the glue is down, and we're going to match that up right next to the other one and place it. So let's do that really quick. Okay. Place that down. I think you can see what I'm doing. Now, while the glue's still wet, when you pull it down, it should line up there. If not, you can maneuver it. All right, let's grab the next one that has no writing on it. We're going to do the same thing. Line it up. And then we have our last one. We're going to do it the same way. Just right on top there. Alrighty. Next, let's grab our strap, and you'll want to fold on those little score lines. Now our hinge is going to be at the bottom, and on the bottom score line, we're going to pinch and crease. We're going to hook that back behind, and we're going to kind of center it there, as best you can anyway. So once you have it in place, we're going to glue that. Whoops, mine slipped. That is not good, but I think it's going to be okay. I'll make sure I don't have any glue seeping out there. Let's grab a couple magnets. We'll grab a plus and a minus. Whoops. Come here, you. Okay, so the plus will just come up a little bit, maybe from this little edge here down, maybe a 1/4 inch. We'll place the mate on. Now, you'll want to flatten this completely down, so hold it down. And you'll just want to let it fall. And we'll press, and then we'll shimmy it off. So now it is set. Let's get our paper. In your reserves, you will have this print on the back. It is this. So we'll turn it to where the greenery is over here, measure over 4 inches, and cut. So we just took off a little bit. Now we're going to make 2 cuts. Measure over 5.5 and cut. Measure over again 5.5 inches and cut. So this is what you should have. One, you'll see how the vine comes over this way and one comes over this way. The one we want is this. We'll set this one off to the side. Let's apply some glue, and we'll center it on that top one. Now, on this piece we set aside, what we're going to do is we're going to turn it this way. And what we're going to do is measure over 1/2 inch and cut, measure over 1/2 inch, and you're going to keep measuring over 1/2 inch until you can't anymore. So we'll have several 1/2 inch strips. I was able to get, I think, 8 here, 1/2 inch strips. And it does not matter how you want to do this. So I'm just going to grab one more with the wood grain here. And I'm going to flip that up, and I'm going to center that side to side and leave a little bit of a white lip there. Okay. Next, and what we're going to do is keep doing this. Oh, my phone is downstairs. I forgot to turn that off. Now what we're going to do is do this way. One here, one here, one here. So this is what you should have. Let's flip that up. Oh, I have one left. We're just going to put that one right down here. Excuse me. I didn't, or you can go this side. Whatever side you want. I'm going to keep with the green. All right, let's get for this. Now in your reserves you will have this piece here. This is about 3 5/8 by about 3 5/8. So this is what it has on the back here. All right, looking at it like this, we're going to make 2 cuts. Measure over 1 3/8 and cut. Measure over again 1 3/8 and cut. So this is what you should have. Now you can use whatever side you want. I'm going to put this one right here, and that'll leave me room away from my hinge. So let's glue that down. Get up any glue there. And then this one, I'll apply glue, center that right on in there and glue it down. And we are not done yet. Something else I think I would like to do. I'll go like that. In your reserves, you should have this cut apart. You see here the flowers in the Garden of Life? Well, we're going to just separate that off. Let's cut out and around. And then we're going to back it to some white cardstock and cut out around that, leaving a little bit of a white border. So I have mine done here. Now all I'm going to do is partially put some glue right here. And you're going to want to have it up enough so that it's not down. So just put some glue up here. So now when this dries, we'll be able to flip it down. So while that's drying, let's get our score tape on. Score tape around the outside like a picture frame, 1 down the middle, 1 on each side. And we're going to get this in our book together. Alrighty, we are ready to go. I'm going to slide something back behind, page 6. You're going to come in maybe a 1/16 or an 1/8 from the side. And we'll burnish that down really good. All right, so that is what we should have in there. Let's close her up. Now over here, I would like to do something. So all I'm going to do here is I'm going to completely cover this with glue to make sure no snagging goes on when we shut the book by something lifting up and catching on that. I'm just going to have it right here. And my picture can come down over it. And I'm just going to grab one like this, 2-layer. So page 5 and 6 are complete. I think it looks really nice. I hope you like it too. We're now on to page 7. We're on page 7 and we have one pre-cut. It's a 4 by 7 and we called it a pocket. The first thing we did was lay this on our scoring board. We are 4 inches across. We scored at 1/2. We then turned it. So now we are 7 inches across. We scored at 1/2 and 6 1/2. So really quick, before we cut into any paper, let's get this ready to go. We'll cut out the squares, fold back on the score lines, and adhere down in the corners there like we've been doing for pockets. So let's do that really quick. Okay, pocket is ready to go. In your paper pack, you will find this gorgeous print, and on the back it is this. We're going to turn it this way, measure over 7 3/4 and cut. So this is what you should have. Measure over 6 inches and cut. This is what you should have when you're done cutting. We're going to save this for our page 8. So we'll set that off to the side. And here is our page 7. So let's grab our pocket. We'll turn it over and we're going to get this glued down. Very easy, quick page. The opening is here. We'll bring it down to the bottom. And we can pucker that up just a little bit if we'd like. Okay, we're going to get our paper. In your reserves, you will find this print. It's 12 inches by about 4 1/2. First thing we're going to do is measure over 6 inches and cut. After making that cut, this is what you should have. We'll put that in our reserves. We're going to turn this way now. Measure over 3 3/8 and cut. All right, this is what we have, and I think we're going to turn it this way. We will settle that down right here, and it should fit side to side. And that'll give us a little bit of a white lip at the top, so we can tell that that's a pocket. In your reserves, you should have part of a cut apart here. And let's go with friends. We'll just clip that out. We'll put that back in reserves. I've got a scratch piece of white cardstock. Let's cut out and around this. And once we're done cutting out and around, we will glue it down to some white cardstock, and we'll cut out and around that. I just got done with mine. I think I'm going to put this right, there is something I want to do. I'm just going to put a little glue right here. And I'll set this, it'll go just a little bit above the pocket. All I'm trying to do is get the word friends straight. I'm not worried about all that, the shape there. I'm going to grab some Tim Holtz. We are going to do our score tape here in a minute, but I am going to grab some Tim Holtz flowers. A vine and a flower here. Okay. Flip it over, score tape around the outside like a picture frame, one down the middle, one on each side. And then we'll place our flowers. Okay, got the score tape on the back. Let's begin. I'm going to glue that down, my leaf. If you're not using leaves, one thing I do want to say is this back sheet, or the behind the front of the cover, there's these. Feel free to take one of these sheets and use the leaves from this instead of this if you're not doing your own leaves. So I do want to say that. And then we'll leave the other one alone just in case I want to incorporate that. I'm not sure. But at the end of the tutorial, if you have some of those leaves, you can always go back and fussy cut them out and tuck them under places and use them. And I'm just grabbing a 2-layer flower here. And I'll place that here. And that's got to dry, of course. And then I just clipped off a bunch of these little Tim Holtz flowers. Oh, there we go. It's coming apart. And I'll just clip off some of the stem. Not all the way. If you clip it completely off, you might lose the center piece. And just stick them wherever you want. Okay, in your reserves, you will have your cut-aparts. I don't know if yours stuck together or not, but do you see this? I'm going to go ahead and cut out around this, and I'll show you what mine looks like when I'm done. And then I am going to glue it down to some white cardstock. But first, if you'd like to see how I do mine, I'll show you. I didn't do anything special when I cut it out. I just kind of went like that. So now I'll glue it down and cut out and around that. Okay, I have this. And let's see. I think I'm going to go with this right over here. I'm just going to stick it down. As soon as your flowers are dry, we're going to go ahead and put this in our book. So we'll burnish really good, and I'll meet you at the book as soon as mine's dry enough to get in there. I think mine's dry enough. Let's go on back. Here's page 7. We're just going to bring it in about 1/8 inch from the side there, or 1/16, whatever you'd like to do. And we'll place that. So that looks pretty good. We're moving on to page 8. on page 8 and we have a couple pre-cuts. First one is a 6 by 7 3/4 fold out. And we laid this on our scoring board so that we are 6 inches across. We scored at 1/2 and 5/8. So the next one is probably very strange for you. It's called a side pocket, and there was no scoring on it. So I'm going to show you a different way to do a pocket versus the other way where you do the scoring. Now, I used to teach this all the time where there was no scoring. So I'll be showing you how to do that. Let's grab our base page that we set aside, and we're going to grab that side pocket. So I'm going to show you first, but the thing is we'll put some glue along the side here. Then what we'll do is we'll take this and bring it all the way to the edge, and we'll leave about a 1/2 inch overhanging on each side. So let's do that. And it's kind of a wraparound style pocket. So we'll just put a line of glue down the side here. Bring it up to the edge, making sure we have overhang because that's the part we need to wrap. So sometimes when I lay that down, I like to look to make sure no white is over the edge. That way I know that I have it on straight. So we'll burnish. So the next thing we're going to do here is we're just going to turn this over and we're going to fold over without bending our paper. And we will do that over here. And this is where we just, and if you don't get quite even, because I have a little more on this side than I do over here, so long as you have something to wrap around to the other side, you'll be fine. And we'll just give that a burnish. And over here as well. And here is our side pocket. So the opening is right here. Side pockets like this is kind of good to do because you're a little bit firmer with your mats rather than being so loose that it flops out. We're going to grab our fold out now, and we'll fold on those score lines. By the way, this is one of my favorite ways to do. However, sometimes when doing that with pockets, other style pockets, not just side pockets, but another way, if you get it on too tight, you're not going to be able to get as much into your pocket. So I started teaching the other ways to make sure that everybody could have a little more room in their pockets in case they got it on too tight. Okay, so this, we're just going to slide that over, and we'll get that on. I'm going to go grab me a cup of coffee. I think I need it, and I think I'm shedding here. Okay, I'll be right back. While my coffee is brewing, let's continue on. So here you have another score line. We'll fold on that. We'll push it in to make sure we have some spacing there. And we're going to get our magnets out. We'll need a plus and a minus. So we'll come down somewhere in the middle, come in maybe a 1/2 inch from this to this. We'll place it. Now we're going to close this. Make sure your spacing's there. Let it find itself. And we'll go ahead and add a little glue. And we will definitely let that dry. So we're going to take a moment here to let that dry before we lift up. So we will work on this. In your reserves, you will have this print, and on the back, it looks like this. Measure over 5 1/8 and cut. We're going to apply glue to this side, and we're just going to center it on there. And it's going to be short on the bottom, so we'll want to make sure we bring it to the top, leaving about a 1/16 of white, and centering that side to side so it looks even. Next, in your reserves, you will have this piece. What we're going to do is stick this on our paper cutter. And you see this band? That is what we're after. So right here. I'm going to cut all the way down. I'll show you what mine looks like. So this is what I have. This we'll put back in reserves. We'll measure over 5 1/8 and cut. Now we'll apply glue to this piece and set it at the bottom. And we'll leave ourselves a little bit of white down there. In your reserves, you will have this piece. So I am going to cut out one of these windows. We're not going to back this. We're just going to stick that right in the middle. Kind of just dressing this up a little bit. Okay, on one of these, on the back it's this. We're actually going to go for something over here. Let your dreams blossom. Let's just cut that right out. And then we'll put this back in our, oh, actually I see something else we can get after. But I think I want something different, a little bigger. Never mind, I'm just talking here. So we'll cut out and around this, and we're not going to back this either. Okay, let's add some glue. Right up here, place that. Alrighty, I think the glue and everything is done. For now, we'll leave it like that. I'll be adding something else to it later. Let's go ahead and get our paper for this. Okay, in your reserves, what we're going to do is we're going to measure over 5 1/8 and cut. Next, we're going to turn it this way, measure over 7 1/2 and cut. All right, we're going to have this side up. Now, if you do not like this print, for whatever reason, I think it's pretty, at the end of the tutorial, when we're all done, if you prefer to use a different paper here, you can. But I wanted to get some of that leafiness in there. Okay, for this, in your reserves, you will have this piece. It says Forever Love. You got the butterfly, and it's this on the back. Look at it like this. Measure over 2 1/8 and cut. Okay, this is what we should have. I want you to lay this down and try to center the Forever Love somewhere on that pocket. We're next going to come all the way to the top of our pocket white cardstock, and we will make pencil marks. Now we're going to cut there, and that way this goes in there even. Okay, I have mine. So now the thing is about this is you only want to come to the edge of the pocket, which is your decorated paper. You do not want to go over it because then you're getting into your hinge area. But that should leave you a little bit of a white lip there. And you can do it this way, or you can do it this way. I'm going to be putting it down like that. I found this. What do I want to do? Yep, I think that's what we're going to do. Okay, so we're going to break up some of this, and what we're going to do is take the edge of this to the edge of the paper and bring it down. And we are going to cut straight down. Now I'm going to do this by hand. Wish me luck. And I'll just even this up at the top. And then I'm going to glue that down. Just for something. We don't need to back this or anything. You could back this to white cardstock and then make a little divot, or a little, not a divot. What's wrong with me? You can make a little tuck if you wanted. I'm just doing it to break up some of this a little bit. And I think that looks really good. You can still get your pictures right on in there. We'll finish up with this as soon as we get it in the book. We'll flip it over, score tape around the outside like a picture frame, one down the middle, one over here and here. Don't forget to take this off, and we're going to place this in our book. Okay, here's page 8. We're going to come all the way over, except leave about a 1/16 or so. And then we're going to open that up and burnish, and then we'll finish up with the cover. I'm going to put a thing like this over here, but I'm going to cut this off a little bit So I have a full one here, and I'm just gonna kind of pinch off this bottom part. Put that right there. So because we have a more bulkier flower here, I can get away with putting one up here. And that will, when we close it, will balance out the pages. So do not come over the edge. You'll want to be away from that, because you want to be able to open this so that you'll see that I'm bringing this down a little bit more. And I'll use this, let's see, which one do I want? I'm going to use this one. Now do not put it all the way at the edge. You'll want to bring it in a little bit here. I'm going to flatten, this one's 3 tier. I'm going to flatten this down just a little bit, but it's still bulky. And I'll place some of these white little Tim Holtz flowers around it. And I got one more here. I'll just slide it under there if I can. So the idea is that when you open this, this hasn't dried yet, you are not going to stop because it's too far over. So as you can see, I left about a good 1/2 inch from the side there. And I think that looks really good. Page 8 is complete, and now look, when we close it, it's evened out from those flowers. All right, we are now on to page 9, and then we have page 10, which will be a little more bulkier. We're on page 9, and we have one pre-cut. So the first thing it said to do was lay this on your scoring board so you are 7 inches across. This is a 7 by 11. We labeled it envelope. 7 inches across, we scored at 1/2 and 6 1/2. Next, we rotated this, so now we're 11 inches across. And what I want to say is it doesn't matter if your starting point on your scoring board is here or over here, okay? It doesn't matter. Our first score line was 3 1/4. Now, one thing I do want you to do while it's on your board is to just do a light little arrow from the score line over here and put 3 1/4. This is going to help us, okay? Our next one was at 7 1/2. So this is the 3 1/2 inch score line right here, and then our 7 1/2. Okay, we'll set that off to the side. In your paper pack, you will have this print, and on the back, it is this. We're going to turn it this way, so my garden is over here. Measure over 7 3/4 and cut. The one that says my garden goes into our reserves. So now it doesn't matter which way you're looking at it, measure over 6 inches and cut. This is what you should have. Let's flip that over. And the one with the little yellow over here, we're going to put off to the side for our page 10. All right, let's put that one off to the side. So what I want us to do now is, you see where we have a score line here and here. What we're going to do is we're going to leave this alone. We're going to cut in here and straight up. In and up. And like I said, leave this alone. I'm going to put this on my paper cutter so I get a nice straight cut. And I'll be right back to show you mine. So this is what mine looks like. We're not going to glue anything down. We are going to fold on those flaps though. Fold back. Fold back. We are going to fold here, but no glue yet. And then this one, like this. Okay, so now let's just open that up. We can open that back up. Our flaps are going to be up here, and we're going to get paper for in here. In your reserves, you will have this print on the back. It is this. Let's turn this upside down, measure over 5 7/8 and cut. All right, next we're going to turn it this way. Measure over 3 3/8 and cut. And just verify you're going to fit in there. Do not glue this down yet. Just set that off to the side. In your reserves, you will have this piece On the back, it is this. Measure over 5 7/8 and cut. What we're going to do here is, first off, I'm going to set this off to the side. This one we're going to look at like this. This one we're going to turn upside down. Now they're going to be slightly different in size. This is 3 3/8, and I think this one's 3, just a hair shy of that. So we are going to put this one upside down all the way to the bottom. Grab your ruler. You're going to measure up 1 inch from the bottom up, approximately. Get there. Make a pencil mark. Now you're going to move in from here over 2 inches and make a pencil mark. So let's make sure that those are like that. All we're going to do, now you can draw a line over if you'd like, but what I'm going to do is I'm just going to hand cut there. Now once you've done that, okay, just take one of them. You're going to rotate that over to the other side. That's now our template to try and get these even. So I got that over there, and now I'm just going to cut the best I can. We have this laying down in front of us. I had to maneuver mine around to make sure I do this right. This one, so our flaps are up here, the writing is up. This one we are going to glue down, leaving just a 1/16 of white showing down here. All right, so while you have this there, don't worry about that one. Whoops. We're going to cut at an angle and leave about a 1/16. So I'm just going to take this real slow. Do the best I can. I can always fix it up a little more. So now what you have is this. Let's grab our magnet. We're going to set one of our magnets. We'll need a plus and a minus. Let's grab, I'm going to grab the plus. I'll put the minus over there and hopefully I won't lose it. But before we set the minus, I do want to get a scrap piece. So here is this now. We're going to come down, leave maybe about a 1/4 inch from the top, I'd say. Okay, leave your minus alone. Now let's take this one. We'll apply our glue. And I'm going to get up and around here. And it should fit. Just make sure you don't get on your score line. Just do the best you can. Okay, for now, just stick that one right there. All right, in your reserves, you should have this. It's a long, 12-inch long piece, I believe. And it is by about 1 7/8. Go ahead and measure over 5 7/8 and cut. Okay, I'm going to flip mine over. I'm going to put glue on this side. And you can see where your score line is here. Okay, now it's time to pull in these flaps. So we'll put some glue here, and we will put some glue over here. And if you want to pucker that just a little bit, you can. Now it's time, here's our mate on top of our other one. We're going to set this. Just pull it over. If you'd like to put a little bit of a bend without creasing your paper, you can. And we're just going to bring it over, press, and then we're going to shimmy it off to the side. So this envelope will now accommodate photographs. Let's get our paper for this, and I am going to, I got a mess going here. I'm going to erase some of so that, especially up here, everything else will get covered. In your paper pack, you will have this print on the back. It is this. Let's turn it this way, measure over 3 1/8 and cut. So this is what you should have. Go ahead and turn it over. You have the birdhouse, the bird, flip it upside down, measure over 5 7/8 and cut. Now we're just going to apply glue, and we are going to center that right on in there. We should have a little white lip there. All right, make sure you have no glue. There is our envelope. So for this, before we put this down, let's go ahead and flip this over. Score tape around the outside like a picture frame, one down the middle, one on each side. Got my score tape on there, and I'll just situate it here. I have a lot of the green specks. So what we're going to do is we're going to turn this way, so the opening will be able to get in this way, because it has a little bit of bulk on this page when we're laying it in the book. And that way, all you have to do is open it and grab from this way. But I also want to make this a little bit of a tuck area. So here, once again, it's like this. We're going to put glue down under here and under here. So I'm just going to rotate that. Just a little tuck area. And now we're going to place this. And I'm just going to place this kind of centered, probably about a 3/4 of an inch or so from the bottom, or a 1/2 inch is perfect. Get that on there straight. Let me see. Mine's a little crooked. That's good. So just underneath these areas, and I'm going to wipe up any glue, of course. All right. Page 9 is complete. Let's go ahead and remove the score tape, and we'll place this in our book together. Oop, I got a burnish. All right, here is our book. Page 9 will come in about a 1/16 from the edge. And we will place that. Let's give that a good burnishing. So now if you wanted and you had a picture mat, you can go ahead and tuck it back behind, or just a photograph. And like I said, you can get a good size photograph or a picture mat in there. All right, page 10, our final page. Let's move on to that. We're on our last page, and we have some pre-cuts. So the first two that we cut was 6 1/2 by 7 3/4, and we just called those fold outs. On each one of these, we laid this on our scoring board. We are 6 1/2 across. We scored at 1/2 and 5/8 on each. We had two pieces that were 4 1/2 by 6 5/8, and we called it a pocket. We laid this on our scoring board. We are 4 1/2 across. We scored at a 1/2 inch. We turned it. We are 6 5/8 across. We scored at a 1/2 and 6 1/8 on both of these. Now the last one was a 7 3/4 by 11. Now you'll see I have a scribbly line. I accidentally made the wrong scoring on that, so ignore it. I'm still going to use this, even though there's got a score line there. But what we did was we laid this on our scoring board. We are 11 inches across. We scored at a 1/2 and 3/4. Then we scored at 6 5/8. And we just called it a large fold out. All right, let's get our base sheet here. First thing we want are those regular 6 1/2 by 7 3/4 fold outs. So let's fold on the score lines. Okay, we're going to have a hinge off to the right and a hinge off to the left. Let's start with the right one. On the outside score line, pinch and crease. You'll still be able to see your other score line. And we're just going to hook that right on like we've been doing on these fold outs. And I'll clean up any of my glue mess here. Okay, I'm pretty good. Okay, hinge off to the left, outside, score line, and we'll just come right on over the top and get that on. This page may seem like there's a lot of stuff, but it's going to go pretty quick. You guys already know how to assemble pockets and everything. Okay, so while we have this and it's flattened down, don't push back on the other ones yet. What I'd like us to do is grab that large fold out, and we're going to fold on those score lines. And as far as this one goes, we're just going to keep folding. Okay, so now your hinge should be over here, and you should have this folded back. So on the outside score line, pinch and crease. And we're just going to hook that right on over the other one. And then I'm going to check to make sure I have no glue seeping anywhere. All right. And I'm going to check in here. I look pretty good. Okay, so this is how it's going to lay out here. So let's just first start with the inside. In your reserves, you should have this print. On the back, it is this. We're going to go ahead and turn it this way. Measure over 7.5 inches and cut. And this is what you should have. When you're done with that, we're going to make 2 cuts. Measure over 5 5/8 and cut. Measure over again 5 5/8 and cut. After making that cut, this is what you should have. So we're going to apply glue. Now, if you want this side up, you can, but I'm going to have this side. We're going to center it on in over here and over here. So let's glue those down. All right, let's grab both of your pockets. We're going to get them ready to go. Let's cut out the little squares, fold back, and glue our flaps back to assemble. So I have both of mine assembled here. Now, this is optional for you. If you would like a pocket right here, and this is a smaller size, but you can still get a good size, like a 5 by 7, I believe, in here. But we're not going to have it stretched side to side all the way to the edge of the decorated paper. So if you want this left open, you do not need this. I want a pocket right in there. So it's optional. I should have put that on the thing, but I didn't. And I'm just going to line up the bottom of this with the bottom of the decorated paper over here, best I can. Now in your reserves, you will have this. Turn it upside down, measure over 5 5/8 and cut. Now we're going to apply glue, and we're going to bring this all the way to the bottom of the pocket. All right, we're going to grab something for here. In your reserves, you will have a long cutting, and you'll see part of the bird's cut off and all that. It's about 12 inches long, and it is about 1 3/8. Measure over 5 5/8 and cut. All right, once you've done that, what we're going to do is bring that up, and we're going to leave just a little bit sliver of white up there showing. And we're going to glue that down. All right, here's our pocket. Let's go ahead and fold this side in. We'll leave that alone. In your paper pack, you should have this print. We're going to turn it sideways, and you have a little flower down here. Measure over 7.5 and cut. Now just measure over 5 5/8 and cut. And I think we're going to measure over again 5 5/8 and cut. So this is what you should have. This one I want you to set off to the side. The one with the bigger frame, set that off to the side. Now you can have this there, and then if you were to place a photo, you would have the background of the photos there. Or what you can have is this, and then being able to just place a photo. So it's completely up to you. I am going to have this side up, because on the other one, I'm going to be using the other side. All right, so for right now, the pocket and this set off to the side. Keep those together. we're gonna work on over here. So in your paper pack, you will have this. On the other side, it is this. Turn it sideways, measure over 7.5 and cut. So this is what you should have. Measure over 5 5/8 and cut. Alrighty, let's apply glue, and we are gonna center it right on in there. Make sure you don't get on that score line. So this is gonna be just a little tuck area. So here's this, right? We're just gonna place glue here and glue here along the side. And we're gonna fold that over. And if you'd like to pucker it a little bit, you can. You'll be able to get more room in there. And the reason why I didn't recut this when I made that missing score, this was my last sheet of my white cardstock. And I'd been using up my other pieces for some of the pockets in there. It's time to set a magnet. So let's grab the last two magnets, plus and a minus. So let's place our plus. We're actually gonna come up maybe, I'd say 2 inches from the bottom and just come in a little bit there. Okay, now we're gonna get our paper for this, and then we will place the mate over, but we can't place it over here until we get that pocket going, okay? In your reserves, you should have this print, very pretty. Have it look like this, so the writing is down here. Measure over 4 1/4 and cut, all right? So here's the writing. We're gonna rotate that upside down, and we're gonna measure over 7.5 and cut, all right? We can place it like that, or you can place it like that. I'm gonna go with the darker ring of frame down here. So I'm gonna get around that. Now, if you'd rather have that side up, you can, but I want something different. Okay, now that we have that on there, you can go ahead and just put the minus mate there. Let's grab this, we set it off to the side, and we're gonna glue that down right like that. So let's do that. Once you have that down, let's grab our pocket, and we'll go ahead and place that. The opening is here. I'm just gonna pucker that just a little bit, not a whole lot. You really don't need to pucker it, to be honest. You get enough room in there. Okay, now that we have that, let's remove the backing off the minus. And we're gonna just bring it on over. If you wanna give this a little more of a bend, you can. And we're gonna press, and we'll shimmy that right on off. Let's get our paper for here. All right, in your reserves, you will have this. It has part of the writing over here. We have some frames on the back. We're gonna turn it this way. We're gonna measure over 5 5/8 and cut. So that is what you should have. Next, we'll rotate it. This is upside down in the corner. Measure over 3 7/8 and cut. All right, let's apply glue and set that right like that. I think that's really pretty. Hope you like it too. And we're using up some of these scraps for sure. All right, let's go ahead and close it. In your paper pack, you will have this print. On the back, it is that. Oh, my stomach is growling, I'm starving. Turn it upside down, measure over 5 5/8 and cut. This is what you should have. Rotate it, measure over 7.5 and cut. And you'll be able to see part of the word up here, but you'll be able to see flowers. We're just gonna center that right on over that and glue it down. If you'd rather have this side up, you can. But I like that print. All right, let's get this in our book. Score tape around the outside like a picture frame, 1 down the middle, 1 on each side, and to conserve on score tape, if you'd like to shoot a little glue in there, you can. And then I will meet you at the book. All right, I got the score tape backing off. Let's go to the very back. This one we're gonna do just like we did in the very beginning. We're gonna bring that all the way over. think I got that on straight. We'll just open it all up and give it a good burnish. All right, page 10 is complete. Now, if you don't like the broad spacing, I guess you'd say, in between your pages, you can put a thin strip of decorated paper from your pack and just kind of place it on down there. And then it'd be less of a, you know, gap. But I'm fine and happy with what I have here. Let's take a look at what we've created. We have some good spacing. We don't have gator mouth. And looks good to me. Here we are. This is so cute. I like that. And then we have back here and here. Over here, just for a photo, we have our double pocket. And we got so much room to place photos. Yeah, this looks really good. I'm happy with this. I hope you are too. Now remember, we don't do picture mats together because everyone has their own taste and style and how they like to do them, and their photo sizes differ. So that is something you'll be doing on your own. There's plenty of leftover paper to create with that, or add in some solid colored cardstock. But this looks really good. I'm really happy with it. I thought that was cute. All looks so nice. All right, everybody, album is complete. Thank you for joining me, and I hope you did enjoy the tutorial. My next tutorial will be on the Magic Forest, and I can't wait to get my hands on that paper. I think that's some really nice artwork in it, and I'm super excited to work with it. Happy crafting, everybody, and I'll see you on my next tutorial.